Welcome back to Bravo and Blaze, where reality TV meets real life and where we're not afraid to talk about the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. I'm your host, Jenny Blaze, and today I am so excited because I'm sitting down with someone I've admired for a long time in the Bravo community, the one and only Dana from the Bravo Investigator. If you've ever watched a Bravo scandal unfold and thought, wait, what really happened? Chances are Dana has already done a full-blown investigation complete with timelines, connections, and cold hard receipts. She's not just a content creator, she's a researcher, a truth seeker, and a thoughtful, sharp voice in the fandom. We're talking about what it's like to be a Bravo content creator today, especially when the line between fan and Bravoleb is getting blurrier by the minute. We'll get into her origin story, her process, the emotional toll of putting yourself out there, and what it really means to create in a space where the fourth wall is basically non-existent now. Let's dive in. Hi, Dana. It's so good to
Hi.
have you. Thank you for being here.
I am so excited to be here. You are probably one of the first content creators I started following when I got into the whole Bravo sphere. So,
Yay.
Jenny Blaze, you were like right up there. And you've always been someone who was like good at engaging with people. So I feel like I got to know you pretty well over the years.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I feel the same with you. I share your stuff a lot because you are amazing at investigating what is going on. You come with the receipts, the timelines, the details. I love that because I am lazy and I don't like to go into all the details. I do when I like want to make a point and I'm like, dig this. Like we need to know
Yeah.
what date, what
Yeah.
time, all this stuff. But yeah, I can't like follow it as closely. So I'm always happy to share your content and I appreciate all the work that you put into it because I know it's not easy. But I want to know before we get into like what we're currently doing, I want to know your backstory. What did life look like before the Bravo Investigator? What inspired you to start posting Bravo content and deep dives? And what kind of content do you love making the most? Sorry, that was like five questions, maybe four.
Oh, well, let's see. So I live in Toronto, in Canada. I know whenever Bravolebs discuss
Mhm.
Canada, it's like this one big place where it's like I'm going to Canada. I don't live in an igloo. I live probably not that far from you, you with you being in New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, I live in Toronto, always have. I've always been into reality TV. I'd say my first Bravo show was Vanderpump Rules, and probably in my early 20s, and for different reasons than I'd say most people. Like most people get into it because they can relate in some way, but for me I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just so the opposite of anyone I've ever known. And I'm pretty gullible, so I'll watch. I feel like the beginning of every season of Vanderpump Rules starts with like a cheating scandal, and then the denial until the eventual truth, and I believe them the whole time, right? So I'm always like genuinely shocked. So my
Wait, can I
Bravo
ask you a
just, yeah.
question? Did you believe Kristen Doty back in
um yeah, of
season
course.
one or two or whenever when she was like, I did not have sex with Jax?
Absolutely, she said he was gross.
I fully, wholeheartedly believed her. So when it came out, it was like, I felt like I was slapped.
You felt like you were slapped.
Yes, I did. I was like,
You felt that backhand all the
I
way
did
through.
feel that backhand. Yes.
I don't know. I've always sort of struggled with connecting with people. I know that sounds strange. I've always sort of been kind of a lone wolf and struggled with some depression. And then when Scandival happened, it sort of became this weird period of time, not just for me, but apparently for a lot of people, where it sort of saved them from their depression. It gave us something to do, something to focus on, something to be excited about, especially with all the Easter eggs coming out. So I
Oh
became
my
really
gosh,
into that, but
yes.
nobody else here was into that. And so that's when I found Bravo podcasts and Instagram accounts and like meme accounts. I didn't even know these things existed.
I
And then I was like,
know.
oh, maybe I can do this too. Because the thing about podcasts is like, I like to listen to other people's opinions, but I want to shout back sometimes because I want to give mine. And that's not how podcasting works unless you're the guest. So I was just like, well, I want to get in the mix. I want to be part of the conversation. And what I didn't realize I would get get out of this was a whole community of friends
Yeah.
and just like-minded people where, I mean, one of my closest friends in the world now, I met through this Bravo community. She's come to
Hmm.
visit me. She's from
I
Washington. She's come
love
to visit me
that.
in Toronto, right? So it's just so cool to sort of have that community and share our opinions and have fun together. It's become honestly one of the greatest blessings in my life.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I feel the same way because before, when I was in the corporate world, I was watching Bravo in the background, like, when I was home, like doing laundry or whatever. But if there was nobody in my real life who also watched, and I would find myself in meetings literally like repeating some of the lines. I remember it was the first one that I said that I thought was so hilarious, and this guy just did not get it, was she either wants to be me or she wants to skim me and wear me like last year's Versace. And he was just like staring at me like, what did you just say? I was like, I'm just kidding. But no,
It's
like that
sometimes
kind of,
relevant, like receipts,
yeah.
proof, timeline screenshots, fucking everything. I said that to
Yes.
HR when I left my last job.
You did?
I
No way.
did.
I love
It's
that.
funnier when they have no idea what you're talking about
Yes.
because then it sounds like I made it.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Yeah, and I feel like it's just so easy. It's such a good way to have common ground with people. Even if
Yes.
you aren't on the same, like if you don't have the same opinions, it at least gives you something to talk about. And I love that.
Right. No, I totally agree. And you don't necessarily have to have the same opinion. That is something I've noticed throughout time because we're going to have different opinions and it sort of comes back to like religion or even the way you grew up. You are just more likely to bond with the people that you have common ground with. Or, I mean, they say in the corporate world, like nothing bonds people together than their mutual hatred of of a shared person, like your boss, right? So that's definitely true. But what I've definitely tried to do in this community more so lately is like just because someone has a different opinion than me doesn't mean they can't be my friend. There's been so many people I've met in this environment who have been so kind to me. And
Mhm.
while other people may hate them and think they're trash for their opinions and politics or whatever else, like they've been kind to me, you know? And
Yeah.
so I really try to respect other people's opinions. And as long as we can do that, which unfortunately some people can't, I feel like it's fun to have different opinions. It's fun to have that discourse, right? If
Mhm.
all we're saying in the comments is, I agree, I agree, I agree, then we're not necessarily having that much fun. It's kind of more fun
Yeah.
to hear other people's opinions or their takes based on their experiences. Like there was something that Ariana had said once where she said that, Dan has made me change my mind about marriage. And I'm like, you know what? I think she's only saying that to just say it on camera so that Tom feels bad. And so many people were like, no, I genuinely felt
I
differently
love
once
that.
I met my person, right? I was like, if you felt like that your whole life about not
Mm.
wanting kids, like, you don't want kids. And people told me I was wrong. And
I could see that, and I think that's hilarious. I didn't
yeah,
think that, but now that you say that, it's so funny to
and not
think
in a bad way. I was just like, yeah, I haven't experienced that, right? People were like, no, when I met my person, I completely changed my mind on kids. And I'm like, oh, okay.
good for them.
Yeah.
Do you find it, or I guess I want to ask you, when do you feel like the reactions cross the line?
Well, that is something we've noticed lately. And I definitely think when it becomes racist or so negative that you're like threatening people in any sort of way. But
Insane. That's
even
insane.
maybe even to take it back a bit further, I mean, here's the thing. We do this for fun, some people for money. And I don't know how you feel, but I kind of hate when the Bravolebs follow us because I want to be able to say what I want to say, and not that it's even that bad. I'll give you a small example. So Michelle Saini started following me from the Valley, and I just wanted to post this little baby meme of Jenna Willis being in Sheena's wedding because she
Yeah.
was in Sheena's wedding, and
Yeah,
it's
I
not
consider
that
her an
bad.
OG, by the way.
Yeah, of course she's an
Jenna,
OG,
yeah,
right?
Jenna's been around since
The
Vanderpump Rules.
dark ages.
Yeah, she hooked up with James Kennedy.
That is
Like,
OG-ness,
yeah,
if there
that
is
is
anything, right?
OGness.
It's funny when
Absolutely.
Michelle says, like, I've never seen this girl around before, and it's like, you're new, girl. You're new. You're
Yeah.
the one who's I've never seen before. Anyway,
And I'm Team Michelle, by the way, between her and Jesse. I'm Team Michelle, but she's dead wrong when it comes to Jenna Willis. She's been around forever.
in that respect, right? But
Yes.
I'm not going to have that conversation with her. And I debated it. I'm like, should I send her a message and say, I'm not trying to upset you by posting this? And I don't want to have to do that, right?
Yeah.
And like, and I didn't. And it wasn't really anything. It wasn't that bad a meme. But Tamara started following me last year for a hot minute, and literally a hot minute, because of course I'm going to call you an alcoholic. And it's just, I want to be able to say what I want to say, but then at the same time, I struggle because I don't want to hurt anyone. And
Yeah.
like you said before we started recording, or maybe it was
Mhm.
right after, you don't want someone to self-harm or to do anything in that regard. But we also want to have
Absolutely.
fun. And so I kind of feel like the happy medium is for them to not look at our stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think the hard and fast line should be do not contact them personally
Ever.
and send them a
Ever.
threat, right? Like
Yeah.
if we want to have our discourse, that's one thing. That's kind of on them for looking at it and
I
following us.
agree with that.
But
Yes.
it's a hard and fast line for me to send it in a DM or
Yeah,
show up
no,
at the house or do anything crazy
that's
like that.
so crazy. Like I would never, even during Scandival, when I was like very loud about hating Tom Sandoval in that moment for what he did, I still was like, no, it's not okay to send him messages at all and be like, hey, I hate you. Like, no, we don't need to do that. I can say it on my platform, which is not intended for him, but if he comes and looks at it, I don't know what to say. Like I would
But
say
then,
it to his face. And
yeah.
if he asked me, I wouldn't go proactively try to get that to him.
Of course you wouldn't, but I do recall your story very well that he tried to kind of like come up to you at BravoCon a couple years
Yes.
back, which means he was
Yes.
looking at it and was engaging it
Yes.
in some way. I mean, like Craig Conover is the type who just blocks us all if we
He
upset him.
blocked
If he
me.
sees his name, he blocks us all, right?
He blocked
And
me.
like that's fine, but and Jax does the same. But I don't know. I mean, that scared you. I remember that moment for you.
That was
And like
so
that's
creepy.
that's where that sort of ends. It's like I'm doing this for fun. I'm having fun with my fandom and my platform and then it's just like, "Oh God, now that man is coming up to me in public." Like that's terrifying.
Yeah, and that's not, well, that might have been maybe the first time, but that's not the only time something similar has happened when I've encountered Bravolebs.
Really.
And I was wondering, you mentioned that you don't feel like the your platform is for them, but they may follow you. How much interaction do you think we should have with them? Because, like, I love to praise people. Like, I'm a cheerleader at heart. I was a cheerleader growing up, and that's just my personality. I like to hype people. I'm a big hype girl.
One small heart shouldn't trigger
No,
these
really.
Bravo labs, and that's real thirsty because they should be getting millions of
Yeah.
those a day, right?
Well, so
So
that's the thing. Like, sometimes they will reach out to us. Sometimes like I'll just interact or even in a comment, I'll be like, "Yay, I love that." But then sometimes that may turn into something else. Like, have
mhm.
you had those experiences? Do you have like your own rules on, engaging with the Bravo Labs?
I guess I would say that I go back and forth with it and it changes because I like I said, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't typically tag them in anything either.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then I've also learned more recently, and this is something I mentioned to you, but previously, like I have never been able to get a Bravo Love on my podcast, and I have no idea why. And something I was talking with my network about, and they're like, "Are you engaging with them?" A lot of times, like it has to do with like the relationships that have been built, and
Yeah.
I'm like, building a relationship, and then I realized there's so many accounts who are literally doing cheerleader posts in a good way,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Danny and Nia are the best. They're the best couple ever. They're so amazing. I love them. And they're tagged, right?
Yeah.
And then Danny and Nia like it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, right? So I guess I see what you're saying, right? I mean, because we have to look at it at a couple different levels where we do this for fun, but we also want like to grow our podcast and to grow our shows and things like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
should I be doing that more? But then it's also like taking sides, and I just don't want to be
I
so much of a
know.
side taker. But then, you do want to become known as well. So I had a situation, I'll talk to you a little bit about it because it's sort of reminding me with OC coming up now. Last year, when Tamra said on Watch What Happens Live about Ryan, what did she say? Stealing more money than a baseball player or something like that.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah,
it was
yeah.
that
And
she said
she got a
wasn't
cease and desist from
right.
that
So the
or for
cease and
that.
desist. Okay. So I was, still growing my account at this time. This is about a year ago, I guess. And Ryan and the All About the Real Housewives girls had collaborated on a post together, and it was the cease and desist. It was the post that said, It was outside of Tamara's door, and there was like an envelope
Mm-hmm.
outside of her
Mm-hmm.
door. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And we all thought it was a lawsuit. We all thought it was
Yeah.
she was being served. It said like you've been served or something like that. So as someone who is a licensed private investigator, thank you very much. I
Mm-hmm.
know that you can't serve someone that way. Like you have to
Oh.
serve the person. You can't just leave it at their door.
Yeah,
So
you
at
have
this
to
time,
like say it
remember,
to
we
them.
didn't think it was a cease and desist. We thought it was
Mm-hmm.
a lawsuit at this point.
Okay.
So I wanted to sort of get into the mix, but I don't want to be like seedy or weird or anything, but I'm still like navigating this whole like, territory. So
Yeah.
I made a post saying something like that, being like, well, that's not how that would work. So I just
Yeah.
want clarification. And I tagged Ryan in the comment and I said, can you clarify?
Mm-hmm.
Not this man DMing me and saying, Dana, how are you? Hope you're having a lovely evening. If you'd like more information, here is my phone number. This man gave me his personal phone number. This
There
I'm
you
saying
go.
for the first time out loud, okay? I had a 5-minute phone call with this man, okay? And as a seasoned investigator, I'm just taking notes because that's what we
Yeah.
do. And
Right.
I was very clear as soon as I can't even, like, who's not going to take the call, but also, like, I didn't know what I was doing or what this was going to be, right? So he's
Right.
like, he answers the phone, and I'm like, hi, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. My podcast comes out on Monday. So, whatever your side is or whatever you want to tell me, I'm happy to, tell your side. And he's
Mm-hmm.
just basically explaining about how it's not a lawsuit, it's a cease and desist, that
Mm-hmm.
Jen, didn't want him to go that route because she was afraid that she would get fired and it would cause like a lot of grief for her. So
Mm-hmm.
the discussion and decision amongst them and their lawyer was that instead we tried the cease and desist and there would be two apologies. One apology would be about what she said on Watch What Happens Live, and one would
Mm-hmm.
be about the FBI thing.
Yeah.
And they had to be public. One had to be public and one had to be in a way that he would not disclose to me. So obviously, I guess like in person or something. And he's like, okay. I'm like, okay. So, so I post it, right? And then he like DMs me and he's like, Dana, I do not appreciate you discussing our private conversation on your
What?
Instagram account. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wait, what? He heard me typing. I said, I'm going to talk about this on my podcast. I said, what did you think this conversation was?
Yeah, why did
What's
well,
wrong with you?
well that is wild.
Why are you calling Dana in Canada, who he doesn't even know I'm from Canada. You don't even know my last name. You don't know anything about me. I still don't understand why. I understand that I tagged him in the comment and asked for
Yeah.
clarification, but you didn't need to do it this way. And here's what probably happened. He told his lawyer he did this, and his lawyer goes, "Do not talk to random girls on the internet and scare her in some way and say that like legal action, something rather." So I never told this story till now. So there you go. I could show you the
Thank
screenshot
you
of
for
the phone call.
sharing. Oh my God,
But
no, this
anyways,
is
when that happens, it
hilarious.
spooks you and it takes you back a little, and you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to be involved in that way, right? Or like we look at the way OC is right now. I'm curious your opinion. A lot of people are taking very different takes on this first episode with the bloggers. How do you feel about us, quote unquote, being a part of it? Or do you find
Okay.
it seedy and weird, or do you find it cool?
You know what I think is seedy and weird is that Tamra is a blogger.
Yeah.
Two T's in a
Yeah.
pod.
You get to talk shit about everybody else, but we can't talk shit about you.
Yeah, and this is I don't know if I was just
Can I
DMing.
swear on this podcast, by the way?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I don't know if I was just talking in DMs to someone or if I said this on a live stream, but is that okay for a housewife to become one of us? Because I see like,
Monica.
yeah, I'm thinking like the other way. Monica, Reality Von Tease, like that was kind of creepy. But I actually think that's probably going to happen no matter what going forward because we've come to a point where we're on like 2 decades of television. It's very difficult to find people who have no idea what this is. So they're gonna have some kind of idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
And with Tamra, I'm getting annoyed because I saw her being interviewed by Page Six Virtual Reality, and well, who I love, by the way, but
Mm-hmm.
this is not related to them. Tamra said, she goes, well, Katie made a mistake. She talked to the bloggers, and I'm like, what? You are a blogger. Why is that a mistake? This is absurd. I'm tired of it now. And I am not someone to like, I know a lot of people in the community, they're like, Tamrat, we hate her. I have never been one of those people, actually. Like, I find her to be entertaining, but since she's come back, I don't know how I feel about it because now she's playing two roles. in this
Because
ecosystem.
you're right, because here's the thing. She has come at content creators in the
Yes.
DMs and threatened them. While
Mm-hmm.
is she not technically doing the same thing? Like, let's say
Yes.
I was on TV, right? Maybe one
I
day.
have
Let's
tea
say
around
I
this,
were
by
on
the way.
TV. Okay. And then she's on two T's and she's talking
Mm-hmm.
about my show and
Mm-hmm.
what a bitch I am on my show
Mm-hmm.
and how can I keep my husband, whatever she wants to say about other
Yeah.
people, which we all have the right to do. But the
Yeah.
fact that she goes and does that stuff and threatens people on the back end, she's also apparently gone to Andy Cohen about specific podcasts to try to have them like shut down. You,
Wait,
yeah,
how do you know that?
because that podcast told me the fact that you're doing that means that you're not embracing the experience in the same way as everybody else. If you want, I hate to say this, but like if you want to be on TV, then you have to agree to be talked about. And I'm not saying in the negative way we're talking about earlier with
But
regards
that's
to
what
like
they're signing
that
up
kind of
for.
stuff, but it's discourse, right? So you're
Yeah.
signing up for the discourse.
Yes.
So there's thousands upon thousands of Bravo podcasts that are having discourse. Just because you don't like the discourse about you doesn't mean you can
Yeah.
have it shut down. Just the same way that I can't have discourse about me shut down. Do you think I could have my reviews taken away when people call me like whatever they want to say about me? Do I cry alone? Of course, but I can't have it taken down. That's not how it works. They have the right to have that opinion, as
Right.
much as I hate it,
Yeah,
right?
I know. I agree with you. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this tea, but since we're sharing,
Yeah, sure.
why
It's just you
not?
and I.
And we're talking about Tamra. So the whole thing that the Bravo Babe posted saying that Tamra was a part of Reality Blurb,
Right, that's how that started. I remember
that
now.
was sent to me as well.
She had
And
sent it to me. Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure other
way
people
back.
got it.
Yeah,
I I don't usually take things at face value. I look into it a little bit and I
me neither.
found the source to be credible. And I'm like, I don't credible in the sense that like they didn't make this up. Like it's actually on that website that is handled by a third party. Where did that data come from is what we're trying to figure out. Did someone do it as a joke? Is it actually Tamra Judge? We still don't know. But the reason why it's not being looked into is because Tamra threatened the Bravo babe and shut it down. And so on the show, we're seeing, oh, she also tried to come after me and do that. And like it's all being spun when really the issue is Tamara, your name was on Reality Blurb. Like you could just explain it if you're innocent, right? Like I find her reaction to be like so wrong. And I
No,
feel
her
really bad
reactions are
for the Bravo
ridiculous.
babe because that could have been any of us. And I feel bad because I encourage the Bravo babe to share it.
It's funny because it's so funny that you say that because I always fact check as well. She had sent it to me. She's my close friend, so I reposted it even though it looked a little sus because it did obviously
Well,
it
it's like
but I
it's
was like I'm just gonna
questionable.
repost it and then it blew up, right? And
Yeah,
people
I
were
felt
messaging me you
so
shouldn't be
bad.
posting that without like source
Why?
anything. By the way, all it had said was, what if I told you that
Yeah.
this website came from, and we don't know anything. It's the internet. What's that website that pulls all your work information? It's like Zoom or something. It's
Like
called, not Zoom.
Z- I think there is like a Zoom
You know what
info,
Zoom info.
Spokio.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
things
there's
like that's
tons
what
of
it looked
sites.
like, right? That's what it
Yeah,
looked like.
yeah. It
So
didn't look like somebody created this and manually typed in Tamara Judge. It looked like some kind of center of information that gathers data across the board from different sources.
yeah.
So where did that come from? And I think I heard that her name is no longer on there.
Oh, well, that's us.
Exactly. And I feel bad for the Bravo babe because it could have been any of us. And I could have like I think I reposted it too. But Tamara went hard on her. And I don't know all of their backstory because they do have some history. I don't know anything about that. I don't know why they like had a falling out or anything.
I was around during that time, and it was right around the time that Tamra had her on Two Teas in a Pod because she
Hmm.
had a bunch of content creators on, including Giorgio Says,
Oh.
Samantha Bush, Bravo Historian, and they were just like hand selected to do
Hmm.
these little like three questions they would get to ask Teddy and
Oh,
Tamra.
nice.
And she had always had a good relationship with her. And I don't know
Hmm.
like any like backstory, but I
Hmm.
assume they've just engaged in a good way. I
Yeah.
did have Bravo Babe on my podcast around that time, and she
Hmm.
was saying, yeah, I've always had like good engagement with Tamara, and she had actually asked Tamara to be on her podcast like way back when. And I remember
Hmm.
her saying like, me and my big dreams. It was really cute. And
Yeah.
this was right around the time when Tamara came out with her very correct diagnosis of autism, and
Oh,
that was the
yes.
last straw for Bravo Babe.
Yeah.
And that's when she decided, you know what, I can't stand for this person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then she made that post,
Mm-hmm.
and then because those were two things, Tamara said that the Bravo Babe is attacking her. Now, that is not the correct use of the word. She hasn't contacted you in any way. One was just, I'm
On her
leaving your
platform.
army, and two, sorry, Zoom always says that. One, I'm leaving your army, and two, what if I told you that this website might be correct connected to Tamara? Neither thing's sent to Tamara.
Yeah,
That
I
if that's
don't.
attacking these days and warrants you like losing your job and your family or whatever it is Tamara tries to do to us, like it's just and the threats aren't I mean, I know on the back end, like I know enough of the law to know that she's full of shit when she threatens certain things, but
Yeah, what
I
I
it's the
saw
threat of it.
was bullshit. I'm like, she can't. I told the Bravo babe, I was like, she can't threaten you. You didn't do anything wrong. You shared something that's already on the internet.
Yeah.
Tamara's going after the wrong person if she's
Yeah.
so mad about that. Or is she trying to deflect because it's true? I don't know. She
You know
could
what though?
clarify that.
To play devil's advocate. I know the devil doesn't need any more advocates, but I was talking to one of my Bravo content creator friends who made a good point and who does talk to Tamara in the DMs quite often. She's like, you have to look at it from the other end that she's just getting all of this negativity. And I did sort of think about it, especially when you're trying to come out with something that you'll, like, let's say the autism thing.
Hmm.
And let's say she was
She had
trying
a
to come
tough
out with it
time.
with positive intent, right?
Yeah, she
And
did have a
then
hard
people
time.
come at you for it. And then I think of myself in the states that I get in sometimes when I'm real, real mad, and I will threaten a bitch. So it's not below me to
You
do
feel
the
like
exact
she
same
was
thing.
like trigger happy, maybe? Like she just like pulled the trigger too fast, which Tamara often does.
She does
She,
apologize to people sometimes on the
yeah.
back end, so I think she does just get
Remember
really
she
like
quit?
heated really fast, like coulda,
Yeah, didn't she quit filming and then went
right
back?
for a day, yeah, or whatever.
So, yeah, I don't, that's why right now with OC, I don't even know how I feel about it when I watch it because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I
But
don't even know if I should be absorbing any of this content.
well, how do you feel about Katie, I guess, because you had her on your podcast,
Yeah.
and
And we
I've
have
asked her.
had a friendly relationship in
Okay,
DMs.
so I have as well. I right after you had her on your podcast, I asked her to
Mhm.
be on mine. She said
Mhm.
sure, and then super flighty disappeared into the sun.
Yeah.
Then this season rolls back around. I ask her again, and she's like, "Oh, I'd love to, but unfortunately, it has to go through Bravo PR." I know.
Mhm.
I don't know why you're saying unfortunately. That just does that mean you're not gonna? She didn't ask them. But regardless, I have to be honest. I always liked her, but once I started seeing her hang out with some of these content creators, like seeing it on TikTok and stuff, I was like,
Who
oh,
is she
well,
hanging
that's
out with?
weird. The Bravo mom. So the Bravo mom, the Bravo babe, and Worm with a mustache are a trio. They're all friends. The Bravo
Okay.
mom lives in the OC, and so I'd see her hanging out with Katie and posting TikToks, and I was like, oh, not ew for the Bravo mom because that's her job as a content creator, but kind of ew for Katie. I was like, that's weird. And then we hear in this episode about her going to their birthday parties and stuff, right? And I just feel like I can't see that as genuine on Katie's end. On either end. It just what are the odds that you just genuinely like each other's personalities and became real friends out of all this? Like
Yeah.
it just all starts to feel weird and we've become very enmeshed in it. Last year I was like, "Oh, this is cool" when I first started seeing like Bravo podcasts like on these shows or even like in The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives to see like some of our TikToker friends pop up
Mhm.
in those and I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is so cool. Like good for
Yeah.
us." But people are starting to have like I guess a different opinion of it now. I don't know how much should we be involved. And I think it's
Mhm.
also interesting when they talk about the fans or they're talking about us. They're always talking about us. It's I've
Mhm.
always considered this a very symbiotic relationship where they exist for us and us for them. And
Yeah, they're listening.
they're listening and they, if you would if you were to set a comment on Leonardo DiCaprio's photo, you would never get a response, but you would
Right.
for Luann de Lesseps, right?
Yeah.
And you can have this sort of engagement that you would never have with a quote unquote real celeb.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very cool, but also gets into these weedy territories, right? Like I don't think Tom Cruise is ever going to be affected by me
A
calling him a stupid bitch or
podcast.
something like that, right? He's so above that, while these people are very much enmeshed and ingrained in what we do and what we are,
Yeah.
which can be hard. It's like a cycle. It can be
It is a
a
cycle
dangerous
because,
cycle.
well, the thing with Katie, and this is why like I give
Oh yes,
grace
tell me
to
your thoughts.
Katie because she's new, she's young. Her daughter is a streamer. Her husband is a
Mhm.
podcaster and is
Oh.
in media. Her
Oh.
daughter's boyfriend is like a really big TikToker, I guess.
Oh.
Like
Okay.
takes care of, supports his whole family, like his parents, everything.
So the family is really enmeshed in media. I did not realize that.
Yeah, yeah. And so like for me, I kind of saw Katie as like a new generation of housewives. Not like what we've seen on OC at all. She's like aware of the cameras, but also seems like I don't know, I feel like she is trying to be genuine and as authentic as possible. But like imagine you're used to being like a social media creator or podcaster or something, you are surrounded by that. And then you go on a show, you have all this visibility, and like social media helps drive that, right? They're,
Right.
like you said, they're like symbiotic, they kind of feed each other. So her like starting to do TikToks and stuff, I feel like was kind of like normal, a normal transition. And for her to like become like friendly with some other creators, like that felt like kind of normal to me. And even
Okay.
her and I, I wouldn't say we're really good friends or anything, but I consider her like we're friendly. I have no issues with her. Like I've never seen anything shady. I've never seen like any like ill intention behind her, but also I haven't like spent a lot of time with her. I had like one 45-minute interview. But
Right. I mean, more just like going to drinks. It was just odd to see like them in the
well,
same
yeah,
venue or like
I
hanging
did go.
out, making plans.
Yeah, I did go out to California shortly after our interview, and I was like, "Oh, if you're around, like I'm gonna go to something about her."
I mean, I guess why not? You interviewed her. I mean, yeah, that's, and I interviewed Jared Lipscomb for my podcast, who's sort of like a side character on the Valley. He's one of the friends of
Hmm.
Janet and
Yeah,
Jason and those
he's
people.
on the show.
Yeah, and like he said, if you're at BravoCon, come hang out with us, right? And so like I guess there does become that, I actually heard one of our, I'm sure you're friends with her as well, Kiki Monique, one of
I
our
was just gonna bring her
one
up.
of our friends,
Yes,
content
I love
creators, was
her.
just on a podcast called Andy's Girls the other day, which is a podcast I very much love. And she talked about her relationship with these people because
Yeah,
in this she's a huge content creator.
yeah,
She's really built a business out of this, and she's
yeah.
someone I really admire, by the way.
Yes. Oh my God, I love
But
her.
aside from that, she has sort of enmeshed herself in a little bit of the Valley world and has become
Yes.
friends with these people. She guest
Mhm.
hosts on Sheena's podcast.
Yep.
She goes to a lot of the events that are
Yep.
filmed. I
She's
mean,
been on some episodes of
she's been
Vanderpump
on some
Rules.
episodes. I mean, even that little clip, you didn't see her in it, but that little clip they show of Janet talking about, or they're all like doing yoga, and she's there at that event, at that
Oh, she
yoga
was.
event. Yeah, so she was on Andy's Girls the other day, and so she was asked about her opinion on this and on all of this, and she's like, "It is difficult for me because,
Yeah.
I get my screeners and I watch the show, and I'm like, oh, Janet, like, what are you doing? I see what everybody else sees." And the host says, "Well, as her friend, then do you not like try to like intercept or like tell her like, girl, you're doing the wrong thing?" And she sort of maybe skirted a bit around that, but went back to like how difficult it sort of is to have those relationships, or to
Yeah.
or where do you blend or where do you end them? Because I know that some podcasters struggle where they basically don't say anything negative ever because then they're never going to be able to get anyone on their podcast, but then your podcast might kind of suck because you're not
Because
ever
you don't
giving
have
an
an
opinion
opinion.
because you're just being like positive Polly all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Nobody
it's a
wants that.
struggle, because we do sort of have to assume that they're listening, right? Like it's wild, but they are listening. And yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, how cool would it be if I went out to California and hung out with the Vanderpump crew? But
Well, see,
that I
that's
feel
another
is sort
thing.
of like a if you consider this a job, then is that blurring those lines of our job towards our subjects?
Okay, so I've been recording with Peter Madrigal, and we're like friendly. Like we text each other like buddies. And that's when I started like this is more like recent. We've only been recording like once a week for the last like, I don't know, 2 months maybe.
Are you putting
But
something out together?
well, he has his reality
Yeah.
network and he wanted to do reality news. And really, we
Cool.
start like have a plan of what we're going to talk about, but then it usually turns into me telling him what happened on the Valley the night before because we record on Wednesdays and he doesn't watch. And I'm like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe. And then, it gets into that mostly. But
No,
I didn't even think about this dynamic until after we started recording. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that. Like now I'm like, where's the line? I don't
right.
know. And
And I feel like
same
we don't
with
need it
him.
until we need it, until something happens. And then we're
Well,
like, oh crap, now
and
we've crossed
say,
that line.
yeah, we don't know, like, oh shoot, we went too far.
Right, right.
But like even Sheena, Lala, Jax, Brittany, they all have podcasts. So technically they're bloggers. And
Yeah,
for
we just need to redefine that word because nobody has
yes.
a blog and we're
Yeah.
all content creators at the end of the day. We are creating content, including Jackson Brittany, including they're posting clips from their podcast. They're doing all the
Yes.
same stuff as us. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And so I don't know
Actually,
anymore.
I remember, sorry, I have to
No,
mention
go
this
ahead.
because
Go
it
ahead.
just like popped into my brain. Lala Kent once went off on her podcast about one of our content creator friends, Cece Loves You. So because it's the opposite way on that end, it's the exact same thing. Exact same thing.
Yeah. Didn't she
Named
say,
Cece Love You.
I didn't know she named her. Oh my
Just
God. What did she
that
say
Cece
about
loves
her?
you account. That yeah, I don't know, just because I think Cece really
Mhm.
hated Lala at the time, but like I just think that's a really funny, because it's exactly what you're saying. She's
Yeah.
being the blogger and she's coming down on another blogger who doesn't have a quarter of a platform that Lala does. So that could be really
Yeah.
detrimental to someone like Cece, or amazing for her, quite frankly. I mean, like Farrah Abraham like shared like came after me once from Teen Mom, and she like
From
shared one of my
Teen
things.
Mom?
Someone sent her something I posted, and I guess she shared
Wow.
it. But like, of course, I got like a ton of new followers after she did that. Like, but even though she's
Yeah.
saying like this hating our bitch, I'm like, all right, well, 100 new followers, thank you.
I know. It's weird how that works, right? I don't know. Wait, actually, you know what? I want to talk about Love Island for a second. Not like
Hmm.
we don't have to get into the details of it, but just like the concept of Love
Hmm.
Island. Because this was my first season. I've never
Oh, okay.
watched a show that's like running real time. And so this is my first experience. And I'm like, oh my God, we vote and it affects them? Like, that's a different level.
Yes.
And I just noticed also with this community of viewers watching Love Island, the age range is way different. There's a lot of
Hmm.
more younger people, like teenagers, my kids' age, and then you have people even older than me. So I'm like, that's new too.
Hmm.
But then I don't know, my experience from season 7 of Love Island USA, I felt like was very toxic. I felt like the fandom was even more toxic than Bravo shows. And I wanted to know what you thought about that.
So this is only my second season, so I'm not that far off from you. As a concept, I find it interesting because it's almost like a social experiment in itself. The whole idea
Mm-hmm.
that they don't know what day it is, what time it is,
Mm-hmm.
they can only have a couple of drinks, even just tricking them into all of that, it's kind of wild. And the first part, or the first time for me, I really realized this was a simulation almost in a sense, or how much the outside noise affects it, is when I forget the fandom wanted to vote Huda and Jeremiah apart in some way or
They
whatever had
voted for
happened.
Iris to couple up with
Right.
Jeremiah, which
And
broke
then
up Huda.
Huda and Jeremiah. And so she's like, America fucking hates me. And she couldn't figure it
Yeah.
out. And her trying to
Yes.
figure out what America was thinking was
Yes.
fucking with her mind in a way that doesn't exist in any other environment. Because
Yes.
everyone's convincing her, oh, it's probably about him, right?
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
about you. So she's thinking he's a bad guy. He's done something. When really it's
Yeah.
just America. No, I think America hated her. Whatever it was. So that concept is so wild where America can treat you almost like little playthings and
Puppets. Yeah.
puppets and decide who you're gonna be with romantically. What?
Yeah.
Also, the fact that they have had sex in there is wild to me. In season 6, I don't remember seeing that much, and I've heard that it is more of like a globally Love Island staple thing where people do have sex in those beds. But the concept that you are doing that
I
with so many other
know.
people around is wild to me. And also
Yeah.
so early on. And I think that's why I could be wrong, but I think the people that do end up doing that end up creating those like deeper attachments and why it's a harder struggle to then just go on and go to another challenge and be coupled up
Hmm.
with somebody else. So I think that
Hmm.
I feel like it would be easier to do like all of these switcheroos that they make them do every
Like
day.
if they
Oh,
just shook hands,
yeah. Also, I
why
think it's
are we
just
making out? Why are we spitting milk into each other's mouths?
that it's disgusting. That's what I have to say as well. The challenges I could do without, I just find them absolutely disgusting. As a living, breathing germaphobe. There's just no way I could do
So
any of
gross.
that stuff.
Ugh.
But what I mean, I love that it's on every day, and I love that we get the fast turnaround. Alex Baskin was on the Vile Files, and he was asked about that. For your listeners, Alex Baskin, executive producer of Vanderpump Rules,
Oh, they
Real
know.
Housewives of Beverly Hills. They know. Okay, thank
They
you.
know I dislike Alex
Okay,
Baskin.
but I just wanted to make the point where, Nick asked him about it and he didn't really answer as to like why they can't do that. And with the music, with the drama, with everything, I don't understand why we're getting an hour to an hour and a half episodes every night that Bravo has to wait like 9 months to do. I guess it's
Yeah,
the confessionals. No, we get confessionals in these. So I don't know why. I
that's
guess
what
they
I
really
want
have
for
to
Summer
decide on
House.
story.
I want Summer
Sure.
House to be like that.
Why not, right? Like, I would love that kind of turnaround. It's wild to me that on the Valley right now, we're talking about two women who have already had babies that they're not even pregnant with at the time that they're complaining
I
about it.
know, I know.
That's
We have
so
to
far
really,
away in time.
yeah, when we watch Bravo, and I'm sure this really impacts you when you're investigating the timeline of things. There's always like three different things going on. Okay, what was happening during filming? What's happening during when the show is airing? What happened before? Like what? Yeah, there's just so much. Oh, and then add still social media to it. It's like a whole other layer. It's a lot.
That's why I thought the Valley the other night was so interesting because we had the scene of Janet and Jason going to get ring tattoos, and they're showing on screen all of the feedback that Janet gets online in terms of like
Yeah.
the vitriol. And this is something that we are talking about in real
Hmm.
time right
Yep.
now. We have
Yep.
been talking about the DMs that she's been getting right
Hmm.
now, but this was filmed last August. So, and we're talking about season one vitriol, then, I guess, is what
And there were
she's referring to.
comments, which
Right.
means she's
Sorry,
going
comments.
in and reading them. And I tweeted about that. I was like, this is why I don't think social media is for them, it's for us. And I feel like they need to pick a lane.
And they've been told, right? They're always told, stay out of the comments, stay out of the
They
comments.
can't.
Everyone who's smart, stay out of the comments. And I don't believe those bullshitters like Jesse and Brock who are like, I like it. I think it's fun. And then that gross comment Brock made. Did you watch the after show where he's like, I'll pin the negative comment to the top and then like
Yes.
monetize it? I'm like, what? I don't even know what you're talking
That
about, but
I
okay.
I understood what he was saying, and I was just like, ugh, you make me sick.
For so many reasons.
Well, he
Yeah.
what do you think about Brock cheating? What do you
I have
think
so many
people
thoughts.
are like speculating that this may not be very authentic? And I don't know. This seems like a very big deal.
I
Big
have a
thing
hard
to
time believing that
fake,
someone would lie about this, but I'm also a
right?
very regular person, so
I
I don't
know.
know, right? That just I listen, I have
Is
been
this
I am
normal?
this happened a week ago and I am still processing. Okay, like I've already gone back and watched all of season 11, and while
Oh,
yes, she was acting odd and everything, it's not I don't know because then did they make up this nanny storyline as like, okay, this is going to be our storyline, or is nanny code for the cheating? Because they were at each other's throats, but was it authentic? I'm not sure. Now that I watch it, I don't know. But I do agree with her that she is kind of damned if she does and damned if she doesn't. Because if she were to have brought this up on season 11, people would have been like, how dare you make this about you during Scandal? This is Ariana's season. But then she didn't bring it up, and so she's being ridiculed for that. But I think it's more so everyone's more pissed off about the fact that she and Lala were coming so hard at Ariana for not telling her truth. But I think possibly she thought, okay, if we do the nanny storyline, we've got a storyline. We're not coming in with nothing. Like, that's crazy. So they had something. I don't know. But I also feel like that's your current husband. That's a weird thing to out about your current husband.
right?
You're not talking
I
about
can't,
like
yeah.
Eddie Cibrian or whatever. You're talking about you're letting the fans go at your current husband. Like that's
Yes. You're
weird. And to make
letting,
money off of that is just again, I'm a regular person. I
I
don't do things
know,
like
I
this.
know. Like, was there a conversation? Was Brock
I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, that's a good idea?
I read that somewhere today, actually. There was like another article I think that came out where they said they talked about it for quite a bit and they were trying to decide. But like, oh no, she said something like, I wanted to tell my story before the other woman could. Okay, well
Oh,
that happened 4 years ago. So why would I mean, sure, people can come out at any point, but I feel that's a little weird to say it for that reason. And then like Summer Moon is gonna see this.
I know. It's one thing if they were like divorced
Yeah.
and then she told everything, but this is like so bizarre to me.
And I
Why
had
would
come
you do
around on
this?
him. Like Season 9, he was awful. Season 10, he was amazing. And I
Oh,
love
I
the way he
always
was
liked
there
him.
for Lala's kids as well.
Yes.
But
Oh my
this,
God.
now I'm just like, ew, you're back in the bucket. I hate you.
Yeah, I was like Tyra Banks rooting for you. I was rooting for you.
It's rude for you.
Really, I'm so pissed at him. Wait, what did Lala say about it? She said she found out when Sheeta found
Sh-
out.
She didn't say when. She said, I didn't know the whole time, but well, Brittany said she found out a month ago. I bet Lala's known a bit longer, but not that much. I think she's actually better at keeping secrets than you think. Like, she didn't tell anyone, not even her mom, about Schwartz kissing her 12 years ago in Vegas. So she is capable of keeping a secret, even from Lala. And I don't think from the way Lala implied it, it wasn't that long ago. But it is weird that everyone's just like, yeah, I mean, it's not our marriage, so it's not our business. And
Yeah,
it's like,
did
what
Lala,
about when it was your business or when you were
yeah.
making Tom and Ariana your business?
Did she say anything like how she didn't say anything negative about Brock? Like it doesn't affect her the way she looks at Brock?
Nope. She said she's only seen him as a good father and
Oh my
good
God.
around her kids. I mean,
Prison
it is a weird
life.
thing to talk about. Honestly, when people were saying last week, oh, Lala will probably talk about it, I'm like, no, she won't. That's so inappropriate. And then I forget where we are sometimes. I'm just like, that would be so inappropriate.
Speaking of inappropriate, like I don't hate Janet the way that a lot of people do, but I do see how she moves. Like it's very clear in her actions. I'm like, Janet knows what she's doing. Do you feel that way?
So I have really struggled all season because my history with Janet is, I guess, a little more, I remember her from all the way back then. I remember her in the
Yeah.
background of scenes. She and
Yeah.
I had DM'd in the past. We'd had like a nice little relationship. And so
Yeah.
I never, when she came on this show, I was like, cool, great,
Yeah, me
perfect.
too.
Season 1, I didn't see what people were seeing. I thought she was maybe a bit boring, but like not inviting someone to what event does not make someone the devil. We've seen people
Yeah.
do
I was
worse
like,
things.
this is like what we
This is not
need,
equivalent. Right.
right? Like we
It's
need something.
yeah. So I didn't really get it then. And as this season has gone on, at the beginning, I still didn't really get it. And then she started getting the really insane amounts of vitriol and hate and
It's insane.
negativity, racism against her child. And that's when I really started trying to fight for her. But
Mhm.
as the season wore on, definitely from about mid-season to now, I am seeing what everyone's seeing. Because honestly, I didn't see what everyone was seeing for a while, and now I finally do. And here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing someone, and I did this on my Instagram. I don't know if you saw this, where I likened it to the ring rumor that Sheena went through in season 6. So back in season 6, Sheena is told that Rob kissed a girl. Okay. And as you recall, and she is told this to get back at her for saying that like Tom kissed someone. So Katie, Kristen, and Stassi are getting back at Sheena by saying Rob kissed a girl. And while nobody really believes this or cares or moves on with their day, Sheena carries this on for an entire season. She loses weight over it. She
Yeah.
brings it up at every instance. It affects her actual relationship with Rob,
Yeah.
despite it being true. And at the end of the day, Katie, Kristen, and Stassi have forgotten about this and they didn't care about it. And they only said it just to get back at you for saying something about Katie and Tom. So that's what I started to see here, where this ring rumor for her has become so insurmountable that she can't see anything else. And while for us, and not just us, everyone knows that this is the stupidest, most minor rumor ever, and it doesn't matter. She's making a mountain out of a molehill. And while I understand what she's saying about like your reputation matters, especially as a lawyer, I think what they went into this show with was, we have a perfect marriage, we have a perfect life, I'm Jason and I'm perfect and we've done nothing wrong. So they can't say anything bad about us. What they didn't anticipate was that something could have been made up or what they believed
hmm
to have been made up,
hmm
right? So let's say for argument's sake that the ring rumor is made up, then they're just like, well, now our reputation is being ruined by something that isn't true, and we never anticipated that because we were perfect and didn't have anything. We couldn't anticipate that something was going to happen, and that's why they can't let it go. So I understand the reputation thing, but on the other end, it's like you're on reality TV, you should expect people to talk shit about you and
Yeah.
there to be rumors about you. But I guess they thought because we don't have any skeletons in our closet, that's not going to happen for us, so we don't have to worry.
But
So
Janet
that's
does
why I
have
feel like
skeletons.
if you
Doesn't
look
she
into
have
them in
criminal
no,
charges?
if you look into them for real, they're really nothing. She's explained them
Okay.
all in her podcast.
She,
They're
yeah,
actually
she did.
they're really
They
nothing. Like
sounded really silly. But
yeah,
still, people could still use that, right? Like people will take anything and run
people
with
can
it.
take anything, sure. And I guess it is something I was saying sort of about Love Island in my own podcast where I was just like, is it crazy of me to say that that someone has absolutely no skeletons in their closet? Like, can you really go on reality TV and say like, okay, I'm gonna sign this contract because I know I've got nothing, right? Like, because we all
Right.
say like, you should have known, you should have known this was
Yeah.
gonna come out. Like, is there anyone out there who has absolutely a clean record? Like, I don't know, right? Like, I was in high school before like Twitter and any of that, so thank God, like everything I just said was out loud. But like, I
I'm
just I
still
don't
waiting for
know.
my sex videos to come out. I bet I look hot.
So with Janet, yeah, I just feel like she couldn't get past that. And then she is equating that anger to Kristen. And then
Mhm.
she has fully admitted that Nia has become collateral damage in that because Kristen did this because of protecting Nia, she
Right.
now is angry at Nia. And then her only way to sort of get back or save face is to keep throwing in this rumor. Or sorry, the not the rumor, the Danny and Nia, Danny touching girls thing. And here's what I'll say about this because I have mixed feelings about this as someone who used to be a sexual abuse investigator. I feel like words matter. I feel like they're important. And what he did is sexual abuse, yes. But I feel like she's using it in a weird way because, listen, I personally, and you can have your own opinion, and I change day to day. I don't know about Danny, right? Like, I don't know, right? I can't decide how I feel about it. I don't know if he's done this again. While Janet has mentioned that maybe he has, she
Mhm.
also lied about who she heard that from. And when you lie about pieces of a story that's already so sensitive, it affects the credibility of the entire story itself.
Yeah.
Plus, you've
Yeah.
proven there, right?
Right.
So, and I'm not saying, this is why it's difficult for women to come forward
Yeah.
because, I mean, for so many reasons. One, not being believed. Two, if you lie about part of a story, I don't know if you ever saw that show on Netflix. It was called like that girl that lied about being or sorry, she didn't lie, but like she lied about pieces of a story about being raped, and she ended up being charged with like lying to the police. And
Ugh.
it was actually fully true, but she had lied about parts of it that made her story. It was called Unbelievable. It was called Unbelievable, and it's a really, really good documentary. But when you do things like that, it just really affects the credibility of the entire situation, as well as the veracity of it. Like, listen, at the end of the day, this is Jasmine and Melissa's issue to fight if they wanted to
Mhm.
fight it.
Mhm.
Janet didn't ask them to fight it,
Right.
nor do I believe that she was doing it with that intent because
Right.
they're not asking. You're
Right.
doing it because it's the only thing you sort of have here,
Yeah.
which I think she just sort of got lost in the sauce about. But then in the next episodes, you won't have her apologize for that or come down from that. And that's where I struggle because listen, we all fuck up, we all make mistakes.
Mhm.
And you even have Kristen screaming out loud, I said something stupid. I did it to piss you off. I did it to be a jerk. I'm sorry. You got to do that too. You're not doing that too, right? Say whatever you want on TV, even Jax Taylor. Say anything. As long as you say sorry after, you'll be forgiven. But she won't do that. And that's why she's not going to win anybody.
Mhm.
Sorry, that was my my
No, that
whole
was
monologue
good.
about Janet, and
That
that's
was
how I feel
good.
at the end of it all.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think for me, some of these heavy, excuse me, these heavier topics kind of like trigger me to a point where I kind of like disconnect completely. Like I shut down when I see Jax doing a confessional or some bootleg recording from rehab. I can't
That's
hear
interesting that you shut
anything.
down.
Yeah, I don't hear anything at all. And I noticed it with Miami last night. Everything going on with Gertie is so triggering that I'm just like, I am totally tuning out.
Is it
Not because I
specific
don't want to.
topics?
Yeah, I think it's because like it just, I don't know, the way that Julia's coming at Gertie and no one's really sticking up for her, and like Julia's even demanding an apology. Like, I'm sorry, but bitch, that's battery. You threw a drink on her.
I
No.
missed last night, but no, like the way Julie has been acting this season is completely insane to a cancer patient. What the
I know
hell?
and that's another thing. It's
And
like,
her wife, my God, have you been seeing the
oh
tweets from this woman?
my, yeah, that's another
Crazy?
thing.
You
They're
guys knew
basically,
it.
I didn't think cancel culture existed still, but I guess it does in this case.
See, that's what I was gonna say, where like we have this toxic fandom where like we have horrible things being said to the Love Islanders, and
Hmm.
that's not okay. But
Right.
then we have people that sort of deserve to be canceled in one sense. And where do we draw that line? Because,
Yeah.
okay, so we have someone like Martina. obviously should be canceled easy. Then you have people like Shelley and Alandria from Love Island, who I didn't see this at all, but people said they were being mean girls in some way, I guess, and that's why they were getting some hate. Okay, fine. Then in the middle, you have Sierra. How do you feel about that? Because in the middle, you have someone who did something actually
Hmm.
wrong, got hate for it, and apologized.
Hmm. I'm not
What do
mad
you
at
think?
Sierra right now, and
No?
I'm half Asian, and
That's why
that
I was
is
curious your
a
opinion.
derogatory term towards Asians, but actually specifically Chinese people. I'm Korean, so
Hmm.
I don't know. I still take offense to it. But I also give grace because half of me is white and like half my family is full white. Half my other family is full Korean. I've seen both of them make mistakes like that out of
Mm,
ignorance, not out of like malicious intent. So the first thing I saw
that's a good point.
when she said like her eyes were whatever, I was like, I'm not gonna like be like, oh my gosh, she should be canceled for that. Because I'm like, maybe she just really is ignorant that like she didn't understand the history behind it and everything. But then I saw a second post that was like, still whatever. And I was like, okay, now we need some explaining. So there is like level, like degrees, I guess, of like how bad it is. And I don't know, it's just a struggle every single day internally to figure out where I stand and also like where I think everyone else should stand. And I don't want to be responsible for like leading the pack and being like, this is how you should feel. Like, I'm just telling how I feel. You are free to feel however you want. And I don't ever want to hurt anyone. And I don't condone hurting anyone. So it's
She is trying to come back pretty quick though. Like she started posting today, like,
she
oh, like
did.
let's do a Q&A on like everything I did in Love Island. And like
Oh, that's
again,
too
like
soon. Too
it's
soon.
too soon, but like
Yeah.
there
No, no,
is
no.
no like documented line where it's like if you were
Yeah.
to Google when I can come back from a baby cancellation, when
What
would
did
that be?
yeah,
Today
what
is
does
too soon.
chat say? Chat
I don't know.
GPT.
It's just, like the line is so weird, right?
Yeah, it is weird. And it's like, I don't know. Sierra is within her right to
Do
proceed and
whatever she wants.
resume her life. And like, I mean, I'm not it is kind of weird to do a AMA about Love Island. Like maybe do something else first if you want to get back in
Yeah.
to I don't know. That just feels a little, it's definitely
I
too
guess that's
soon.
the other thing I'll say about the show is I don't know how it used to be cast, but it's definitely cast now of just like influencers who already had like big deals. Because like
Yeah.
when I'm just scrolling through my Instagram, like there's Skims ads with Sierra in them, who was
Ha, really?
already like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's crazy to see. So it's just like, oh, okay. So I don't know if there are more people who are technically more deserving, like because $100,000 is what they win at the end, which is nothing to them in terms of what the brand deals are that they're going to be able to get and the following and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how do you feel about like who gets to be on these shows as opposed to who doesn't?
Well, I still am clueless on what the hell is going on in this show. I feel like the goal is to get herpes and they all won.
I love
Um,
that. You're
like,
right. You're so
wh
right.
why are the parents saying they're proud of their
That
kids?
was weird.
I'm
Just they
like,
were trying to be
why?
positive. I don't know.
I posted
They're like, we'll
about
see you
him.
in 2 days. This is all bullshit.
Oh my God. They're like, I'm so proud of you, Nicholas. You had sex in public. Like, how do those two concepts go in the same conversation? It's just so bizarre
So
to me.
funny.
So yeah, I guess I saw Zach, the Asian guy, in a Fenty ad or something after I saw
Mm.
him on Love Island. So I'm like, this is weird. And then I started seeing all the noise on social media saying like these are all influencers. We want like real people who haven't seen the show and
Do
that
we
goes
though? Like, I just don't know if I care. So I'm
I
just
don't know.
curious
I
what
don't
you
know what
think.
the
I'm like,
goal
I
of
don't
this
know.
show is. I don't know what is going on. This is the most psychotic show I've ever watched my entire life. It's kind of like it has elements of choose your own adventure with the audience
Yes.
voting. And I think for at least our generation, choose your own adventure was like that was that was like our gaming back in the day. We only had like real books, so not everyone had a smartphone in their pocket. So that was like kind of our first introduction to like kind of like these simulated games.
Yeah. But I was thinking not just the audience, but even just when the other Islanders can vote and stuff too. Like
Yeah.
that concept. I mean, I guess the only reason they end up being able to get over it and stuff is because this is not someone you've known for that long. If this was someone you've known, like let's say this whole thing were to go on for 10 years and somebody was like, I'm voting out your husband today, that would be really not okay. I think it'll be a whole different story.
No, definitely. That's why I'm like, why are they making out and like pretending to like each other? I'd be like, I'm chilling by the pool. Like,
This
what
whole
is
thing is
our,
very
what do I
gross
have
to
to
me.
do today? I would not be making out. I'd be like shaking hands. But even they have to sleep in the same bed as a stranger. That's just so, that feels
Why
like an
though?
HR issue.
Thank you. Like, thank you.
And how does like, how do their buttholes not come out during these challenges? Not
I am
one
very
labia.
impressed by everyone being able to stay in their bathing suits. Do you remember when they went to Casa Amor and the way Huda clicked her heels up in the air? Did you see
Yes.
this? And I was like, the fact that nothing moved and like everyone's
Yeah,
bathing suits just stayed on, also the perfection on these people. Like
I
that
know.
intro sequence they do at the beginning for 45 fucking minutes.
So
If
annoying.
for some reason anyone were to ever be able to get me to agree on the to go on the show, which I never would, once I got there and then I realized how close up you were going to make me do this dancing and how much I was going to have to jiggle like right directly into the camera, that's when
They
you could count me out. Out,
no,
out.
right? Like you have to have
Crazy.
a perfect body to be
Yeah.
on these shows.
Yeah.
I am not interested in any of that. And like it's expected that they put on glam all out every day. They
Just
even have
wearing a
like a
bathing suit all day long when your parents are there too and your butt is just out.
I know. My mother would probably freak out. She'd be
Yeah,
like,
die.
okay, I do want to ask you. So what do you think you're going to do going forward as far as like interacting with these people on the shows? Because now it's getting into like a gaming environment because we're interacting or like streaming. I consider it similar to like Twitch. I don't know if you're familiar with Twitch, but like
I've
they're
used it to watch stuff
yeah,
live.
people watch other people playing video games
Oh,
or, that's how it started actually. It was
yeah.
just
Oh,
their
interesting.
video games. Yeah, and it's grown to a huge, huge platform for streaming. And it's like, I think worth more than television, music, and the movie industries combined.
Well,
And that's why I
very
was like,
cool.
Love Island is very interesting to me because I feel like it's the next step. Like our reality shows are filmed 9 months ago. We're constantly like lagging, we're always behind.
Yeah.
But then with Love Island, the turnaround is so fast and there's interaction. So the next step is full streaming of reality TV, in my opinion. Like that's just what I envision. I think
Wow.
Bravo's like kind of behind. I feel like they should be having like live reunions. They should be having
Oh my God, I would
tours.
love that.
Can you imagine mini
Yes.
like reunions around the country?
Because even those are dated, right? Well, I guess they can't because of like swearing and fights that they might break out into, and just like the editing that's gonna have to go into it, right?
But but that's how Love Island is.
I still don't
Why
know. And
can't
we're
they
still getting a
do it?
reunion for that too, which is wild. I'm actually kind of
Yeah.
offended that they brought in Andy Cohen for that, who I love, but like Ariana did it her own self last year. Like it's sort of like you're bringing in a white man to help her. It just feels a little
I
weird.
know. I'm like, Andy, enough. You know what? You got a picture in the Trader's Castle. Why are you entering into Love Island now?
That being said, I'll pick him over Nick Vile any day.
Oh, 100%. I cannot stand Nick Vile. Oh my
Hey,
God.
we're a Nick Vile hating household.
He's the worst.
He's literally the worst. But
He
your original
is.
question was about how I'm going to move going forward.
Yeah, where's your plan?
Here's what I've decided. I don't know why I can't really get anyone on my podcast,
Do you
but I'm
want
just gonna.
anyone on your podcast?
Here's the thing. I am a skilled interviewer. It is what I've done for my career. So
Mhm.
because I'm good at that, I feel like it would help build my show
Mhm.
because if you go back and listen to my interview with Brad Kearns, by the way, Ariana Madix's best friend, like I got a lot of good feedback on it because people were like, I've never heard an interview like this before. I've never heard questions like this before. It is something that I'm good at doing. So that's why I feel like I would like to for that reason. But because I can't, I have found just like another, I think my show is good. I think it's good for other reasons. And I like talking about breaking it down and relating things that we see on TV to stuff that happened to me or friends
Mhm.
of mine and things like that. And
It's
I've just,
therapy.
yeah, it is therapy. And I've just started to
Mhm.
really, because I really enjoy my own show, I feel like because you're into it, I feel like it just, what's the word I'm trying to say? Like if when they say like you can't be in a relationship until you're happy with yourself, right?
Mhm.
So now that I guess I'm happy with myself and that's what I'm giving off in my podcast. And
Mhm.
so I don't know what's going on with the Bravolebs or whatnot, but I know that at the end of the day, my morals get in the way quite a bit. Like I ended up
Yeah.
getting in a fight with Zach and Jasmine the other day over them kind of being public with just their little comments that they say about Janet,
Wait,
where they're like, I'm gonna shut my mouth, I'm gonna close my eye to all that nonsense.
was
What were you gonna
it
say?
in DMs or in like comments?
This was in comments. This was
Okay.
when Janet had fled to Switzerland, right?
Oh.
But whenever Jasmine and Zach come up in the comments and add to it, it fuels the fire. So that's what I
Mhm.
said. And then they both came back at me for it. And then I was just like, well, they're never going to be on my podcast. And what's hilarious is I had asked Benji to be on my podcast, Zach's
Oh.
boyfriend, because he lives in Toronto and he's here right now.
Oh.
And he didn't respond, but then he responded after this fight happened, which just shows they have no idea who we are. But anyways, it just made me realize, like, because I freaked myself out a little bit because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have gone so hard. But then I'm like, you know what? I've done it before and I'll do it again because while, again, a lot of people do this as a job, technically I don't right now. I have a full-time job outside of this. I do this right now for fun. One day, would I love to turn it into something real and monetize it? Absolutely. But what I've realized is not at the expense of my morals because there are certain
Yes.
things that I'm really, really passionate about.
Mhm.
One of those things being women's rights, sexual abuse, things
Mhm.
like that, because
Mhm.
those are the areas that I've worked in
Yep.
before, and
Mhm.
mental health. And so when I see people attacking a girl in the comments, and I'm worried that something could happen to her and her
Mhm.
mental health, that's
Mhm.
when I'll stand up.
Yeah.
Or when I see a woman not being believed about abuse that she's been through, I am going to stand up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will come really hard about it and get really passionate about it,
Mhm.
almost in a way that seems bizarre, but that's just something that I'm passionate about, and
Yeah.
that's just something for me, right? So I just am going to continue to do this as authentically as possible. And I honestly believe that that is what our listeners and what our audiences want to hear. At the end of the day, I do
Yeah.
see comments here and there in other podcaster spheres where they say, like, you used to be more authentic, but now it just seems like you want to buddy up to the Bravolebs, or now it just seems like you're doing this, right? And it's
Oh,
like,
they
I
weaponize
get
it.
why people, they do. And I
Yeah.
get why people do that, and I get why people are afraid to speak their real truth sometimes. And
Mhm.
for example, when the whole James Kennedy stuff was happening, I could not believe that I could not get a single person to talk with me about this. I was
Really?
kind of going insane, especially like journalists, but they don't want to talk about things that are alleged, right?
Yeah.
And it's just okay, but in my industry, for example, what I learned is there's strength in numbers, and when people
Mhm.
start talking about it, it
Mhm.
helps more people come forward. And I will tell
Mhm.
you for a fact, because this was said by Ellie Luber, it was the public that prevented me from going back to him. So
Oh, that's
I will
good.
tell it is good. It is
Yeah.
important that we talk about it. It's not
Yeah.
to be seedy and weird. It is to
No,
protect
I
people,
agree.
right?
And
So I'm just
look
gonna
at
live
Denise
who I am,
Richards.
right? And I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight to the death for that woman. And I will,
Yeah.
because
No,
that's just who I am.
look at Denise Richards. Like I'm like this just
I'm stunned
broke
by it. I'm
this
stunned.
morning.
Yeah.
I could not believe what I read and the picture of her black eye. Like that made me so upset. I just like have been raging all day.
I have a series on my podcast called Be True Hollywood Story, which is like a limited series where I talk about a Bravo Leb about like their whole life. So it's like from birth to scandal to stardom and everything in between.
I
And so I
remember
did
now.
one on her,
Sorry.
and her history with Charlie Sheen is wild, like stuff that I did not know about, like some really, really insane stuff. He was very physically abusive, things that he was keeping in the house. Like, definitely give it a listen if you have a chance. But like now, knowing all of that and then seeing what's happened to her now just makes me
Hmm.
feel even worse for her, knowing the type of abusive behavior she's already experienced at the hands of
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
No, that's awful. I was thinking like I feel like media when women go to be on reality TV, it's kind of like a way to protect themselves because abusers do not like cameras and they cannot get away with their abuse with a camera around.
Yeah.
And to think that if you go back to Denise and Aaron's relationship, they were on Beverly Hills for a little bit. So maybe that helped reduce some of it.
Yeah.
But then that whole thing with Brandy, I can't even imagine, like, did
Well,
that
people
make
are
things
pulling out the clips.
worse? Yeah, did that make things worse between Denise and Aaron to the point where she had to get off TV, but then
Maybe.
she had to suffer until she somehow convinced him, hey, let's do a new show. Because when you have cameras filming you almost all day, that is all that time that he cannot be abusing her. So I'm
I don't put it past
interested.
her, and it's very possibly something that Taylor Armstrong did in early years.
Yeah.
And like I've always thought he was super bizarre. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
think it was this. But now people are pulling out the clips where he's
Yeah.
like threatening to break her hand, and I remember that. But like I guess I didn't take it that way. But I mean, she's come out with the photos, right? And that
Yeah.
motherfucker is asking for alimony? Are you fucking
Over a
kidding me?
100 grand a month.
What's that thing that Lolo always says? I want to catch a case. Like it's a cold. I want to catch a case.
That was such a refreshing and real conversation. Huge thank you to Dana from the Bravo Investigator for being here and being so honest about what it's like to create in a space that's no longer just fandom, but very real life. Make sure to follow Dana at the Bravo Investigator. Check out her podcast wherever you get your podcasts and keep an eye on her page for the next deep dive. You never know what she'll uncover. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, share, and tag your Bravo besties, but maybe not the Bravolebs. And as always, stay curious, stay kind, and stay lit.